All right, my friend, welcome back. We're digging for a few extra insights, a few further insights in today's conversation here on day 33 of our 40-day walk through Abraham's life of faith. Today, it's the pinnacle of the action in Abraham's life story as he and Isaac stand there on top of Mount Moriah, knife in hand, and God steps in at just the last possible moment. It's Genesis 22, 9 through 24. And today's given us plenty to think about. You can see I've marked up my reading guide. I hope you have marked up yours as well. And so we're now here to, I don't know, reflect a little bit further on what we're seeing from Abraham's life today, and then maybe try to import a little bit into our lives as well. This ties in, you've got to keep this conversation linked up with yesterday's conversation, which of course was part one of this incredible story that's got it's beautiful and also hard to read. And for some of us, this is one of the toughest little sections in the entire Bible to think about, because it strikes a chord with both our own desire to live life of faith. It's showing God in a light where it seems like he's out of character. We don't like the idea of God putting Abraham to the test or putting his faith to the test. And that the heat we feel, the blister that forms as we think about this is very useful for us. And so because it helps us reveal our own thinking about what faith means and what God wants for us in life. You know, what's a successful life with God like? Our thoughts of that, and then what does God actually think? And so I encourage you to pair this with yesterday's conversation as well. Today, my favorite part is when we're able to bring Hebrews and the insight into Abraham's mind, his thinking, his logic, and how he responds to God's request to sacrifice Isaac. That's really helpful for us, and it shows, as we saw, up at the top here in the reading. How is Abraham responding the way he is, even to the point of picking up the knife? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's wild. It is wild. He is absolutely convinced that even if Isaac died, God was able to bring him back to life again. He is absolutely convinced that these promises that God has given him will, in fact, happen. And so he's able to take the story all the way to the very end. He's just convinced that God's going to keep his word. And that's what makes Abraham a hero of the faith. But here's the thing. I want to highlight this, okay? Rome wasn't built in a day, neither was Abraham's faith, okay? So I'm going to tell you right now that if God were to give us a moment like this, the sacrifice Isaac moment, most of us would not be ready for that moment, okay? You don't just wake up one day and then God drops this on you and you have to deal with it. God prepares Abraham for this moment. God prepares us for those moments as well, these test of faith moments, which again is not testing how much faith do we have, it's testing the strength and quality of our faith. So here's the thing, okay, for you and me, even if we fail the test, what if God presents us with a moment? It's our Isaac sacrifice moment, and then something we don't respond in a way that shows a faith that's strong and steady. What if our faith breaks under the weight of the moment? Well, it's okay. Learn something, and that's the idea. It's not, well, God's disappointed with me. It's instructive. Okay, so don't let that discourage you. Don't be too scared. We've all had moments like this, and here's the thing: Abraham has had those moments too. I love this. I got one word for you: Hagar. Hagar. Okay. When we go in here, we ask ourselves, what events from Abraham's life have prepared him for this moment, this total confidence in God's ability to keep his promise? And we want to go, oh, there are positive ones, but there are some real negative ones too. And those have prepared Abraham for this moment, okay? Because there are moments of disastrous failure. And God has still stayed faithful to his story. He still kept his word to Abraham. And so even that's talk about a confidence builder. Uh, Jesus had this line, the one who has been forgiven much loves much. Those of us that have some moments of absolute, abject, total faith break. If the analogy of our faith is like the branch on the tree, and you hang the weight on it, and for many of it, we've had those moments where the branch just it snaps. Abraham had that, a 10-year waiting period put a weight on his faith that his faith could not sustain, and it snapped. All right, and you had the Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? And then the whole handling of the Ishmael to the point where God actually told him it's time for Ishmael to go. Abraham's been hanging on to Ishmael, but he finally let it go. You know what I'm saying? So not only the moments where God comes through for Abraham and keeps his word, like when Isaac is born, when all human possibility for that birth has disappeared, probability for 90-year-old Sarah to have a baby has went from, unlikely all the way down to zero. You know what I'm saying? 0% chance. The biology, the science was stacked against him. But still, you know what I'm saying? God still comes through. So it's God coming through and keeping his word in spite of a track record that's checkered for Abraham, in spite of the moments that he has let God down, if you will. You know what I'm saying? He has not trusted God. God has still remained faithful. So now in the moment where it's like, hey, we're going to take Isaac, we're going to sacrifice him up on Mount Moriah. Abraham's like, I've got a long history. And the one thing I know for a fact, okay, is that God has always kept his word every time, even though I myself, Abraham knows, has not. Okay? How is that? Isn't that awesome? You follow what I'm saying? So don't be afraid, okay? You don't treat your faith in these tests of faith like these moments to fear. Don't live in fear of these moments, because here's the thing. If your faith snaps under the weight today, what that tells you is, first of all, more work to be done. Second of all, God remains faithful. So my faith in his faithfulness can hold firm. So when the next time comes, maybe I won't panic. You know what I'm saying? Do you follow what I'm saying? It's beautiful. That's Abraham's reasoning, his calculation, as Hebrews has showed us, his logic. God will stay faithful to his word. 0% chance he will not. So if I got to take this knife and do the unthinkable, that's not going to end this story, because God told me this would not end the story. I know how this story ends. Isaac will be the one. My descendants are going to come through him. God's going to keep his word. You know what I'm saying? Do you follow what I'm saying? And this is, the second question here in the reading guide. Why do you think God asks Abraham to offer up Isaac? And you may have lots of answers here. There's a lot of ways this could go. If I were going to put it into a couple of words, I would say that it is the ultimate goal is certainty and confidence for Abraham. That's how this ends up, right? As I mentioned, I circled up here. God gives guarantees to Abraham because of his obedience. This is because, meaning the result. God, as we saw, we'll see in the digging deeper today, God saw Abraham obey. And so God sees a way to solve the problem. And then God sees a future with Abraham being blessed by him And Abraham's obedience, he heard what God said, and then he heeded it. That's it. And the result, certainty. God will certainly, says, I will certainly bless you. And he swears by his own name. I mean, you can't swear any stronger swear than that. So Abraham, has this absolute confidence once again that God is going to keep his word. This reminds me here of a flywheel. All right, stick with me for 1 second here. A flywheel. On cars with internal combustion engines. Okay, when you hop in your car, you turn on the key, it fires up. You put the pedal down, and it's got this smooth, steady power that propels you forward. Right? We hope. Unless your car's a little older like mine and it sputters a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. And you know where that comes with, that smoothness of power and acceleration? Well, it comes from something in the engine called the flywheel. Okay, because I don't know if you knew this, but an internal combustion engine operates through a series of rapid fire explosions as the gasoline is ignited and expands as it ignites, and it pushes the pistons in the car. All right. So in reality, your car, when it's running, is power, no power, power, no power, power, no power, power, no power. It has little moments of coasting. Okay. The flywheel is this big, heavy wheel that uses the inertia of its motion to keep the power steady, even in those little bursts where there is no power produced by the engine. Okay, so it's while the engine's going on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, the flywheels just spin nice and steady. And so when you put your foot on the gas, the car just moves. Okay, so a flywheel gives you steady motion from bursts of power. Here's where I'm going. Wrap it up with this. Your daily trust in the goodness and power of God keeps you steady like the flywheel until the next burst of God's grace and power that you can see. Okay? God's grace and power are all around us every day. We don't often have eyes to see it, or sometimes we miss. And so we feel like we're in these dry spells. It's like the pistons in the car. Boom, a little bit of God's grace, a little bit of God's power, and it propels us forward. But that feels like pauses in that. So what keeps you moving forward smoothly in your walk with God? Well, it's the flywheel. And it's just this daily trust that, you know what, based on what I've seen from God, the last burst of power, the last insight and understanding I got, I'm going to trust that. I'm going to stay in motion until the next one, until the next one, until the next one. It's the flywheel effect. In a life of faith, we provide the trust and obedience. Allow God to provide the rest. God's past track record helps us trust him. So if God were to ask you to sacrifice an Isaac, I mean, something so dramatic, so unthinkable, you go, there's no way. So essential, so dear, it's unthinkable. It's taking Isaac to Mount Moriah and plunging the knife into your only son. I mean, that's unthinkable. It's shocking. Okay? If you have moments like that where you think God's asking me to do something, it's unbelievable. I can't do it. The flywheel effect kicks in. Abraham's reasoning, I've seen God come through every single time, even when I don't. He remains constant. So I'm just going to keep trusting, even when this is a moment where it feels like the grace of God, the power of God, the love of God has stopped. You're not stuck. You're still moving because you trust the last time God came through. You look at the history of believers throughout time and you go, God has never let anyone down. He's never said something that was meaningless, pointless, or empty. And so I'm going to trust him no matter what he asks me to put on the altar.